Ladies and gentlemen, Nikki Stees is live on the Hardcore Sports Network. Today, we're going to talk about the 2024 NBA playoffs. We're just 1 week away.
I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on the gas, never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep 'em out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me.
Good afternoon, folks. Hope you're having a good one. It is a nice day outside. That's why I'm recording outdoors. So perfect time to talk about the NBA.
Playoffs?
We're just fresh off March Madness. Congratulations to the UConn men's and the South Carolina women's team. But let's get into the NBA discussion, shall we? We're a week away, and I'm going to share a screen with you guys, show you where we stand as of today. I'm on NBA.com. You guys can see. So this is where we stand as of today. Timberwolves, Nuggets tied in the West, and they do have a matchup against each other this week. So that's a marquee matchup there. Bucks and Celtics tonight, but the Celtics already have the number 1 seed locked up, but that's still a good matchup right there. And for the Bucks, they're going to have something to prove after losing 3 straight ugly games they should have won last week. But you also see in this, we got the Thunder 3 out west, Magic 3 in the East, Knicks 4 East, Clippers 5 West, Mavs 5 West, Cavs 5 West, and then 6 Pacers in the East, Suns in the West 6. And then you had the play-in. If the season ended today, it would be Pelicans, Kings 7-8, 9-10 Lakers, Warriors, Sixers, Heat in the East. Then Bulls, Hawks in the East at 9 and 10. But also, there are some playoff clinching scenarios I want to show you guys real quickly. We'll get into that one right there. Here we go. So playoff clinching scenarios as of today, April 9th. For the Mavs, they clinch a playoff spot with a win and a loss by the Suns or Pelicans. And they would clinch the division title with a win and the Pelicans loss. Warriors locked into the play-in game with a loss or New Orleans win and a win by either Phoenix or Sacramento. But let's get to the main ones. Pacers could clinch their division with a win, a Miami loss, or a Sixers loss. Clippers clinch a playoff spot officially with a win or loss, but we're not going to get into all that. But yes, it's going to be, we got a lot going on right there. And there are some marquee matchups this week I'm going to go over first. Just a brief preview before we, because it is the last week of the regular season. These games have implications on playoff seeding. So let's see. I already said we got Celtics Bucks tonight. Celtics already got home court locked up. But the Bucks, they have something to prove after a few ugly losses last week. They got to come back and try to get a win here. And for this point, they could happen for them because the Celtics are obviously looking ahead to the playoffs, looking ahead to that home court advantage. So this could be an opportunity for the Bucks to win a game, get some confidence back get some confidence going in that locker room. Now I got the Kings and Thunder. That's another one right there. Big game. I mean, the Kings are obviously in the play-in tournament. Thunder, what they got on the Thunder though, they've been missing SGA lately. They dropped a few games. I mean, is SGA playing tonight? Let's see. Oh, it says so far all I'm getting is that he's expected to return soon. There's no official confirmation yet on whether he's going to play tonight. Although Keegan Murray, he's been out. Let's see what his status is. This is according to Sports Illustrated 2 hours ago. Let's get to the main thing. Let's see, Keegan Murray. So for the Kings, Keegan Murray's questionable. OKC Thunder, Jalen Williams questionable. Gordon Hayward out. Nothing about SGA, so I'm guessing SGA is going to be playing in that one tonight. Obviously, we know the Thunder have struggled in the recent week without him. The Sixers managed to beat him in Embiid's first game back without SGA. Not to take away from my team, but that is the way it is. And Keegan Murray's questionable. But for the Kings, they got to win some games here because they're locked in that play-in spot. And they got that game right there today against the Thunder. And there's another key game against the Suns later this week. And that's a big one too because the Suns, they could potentially slip down to the play-in with a few losses. They're at the 6th seed. Kings are at the 7th. So that's the big game for both teams later this week, which could possibly play the difference between the 6th seed and having to go through the play-in just to make the playoffs. So that'll be interesting right there. Warriors-Lakers, that's an interesting matchup. That's tonight out west. That's also a possible preview of the play-in tournament. That could have an implication on seeding and who has home court advantage for that game. So that's important right there. But I feel like another important game is Pelicans Warriors later this week. That obviously, I mean, Pelicans are probably going to get the playoff spot. The Warriors, the Warriors, they got to try to win these games right here. I mean, you got the Lakers, who you're probably going to be seeing in the play-in, and the Pelicans, who are pretty much all but officially a playoff team at this point. If you're the Warriors, you got to win at least one of those two games to build some confidence going for the playoffs. It'd be really good for them if they could win both. So that's important right there. So those are definitely important games for the Warriors. We do got the Timberwolves and Nuggets later this week. That game right there could be the game that decides who gets home court in the West. And remember, folks, last year, the Denver Nuggets had the number 1 seed. And what did they do with it? They went all the way on to the finals. They took care of business, swept the Lakers to get to the finals, took care of the Heat in 5, brought their first championship to the city of Denver for the NBA. So that could be a big one right there. That could possibly help the Nuggets repeat if they get home court advantage again, or if the Timberwolves get home court advantage. With Anthony Edwards, they could do what the Nuggets did last year and get their first finals appearance. So that could possibly have big implications. That could be a factor. Now, it's definitely going to be a factor on home court, though. We know that for sure. So that's an important game right there. That's a game you got to have your stars play for both teams. You treat that like a game 7, if you ask me. Yeah, if I'm in a position, like if it were my team, the Sixers, locked at the number 1 seed last week of the regular season, they got to play someone. I'm treating that like a game 7. I'm going out there like going for the win. So that's definitely the most interesting game of this final week. Now, with that being said, now we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs and the play-in tournament. What are the keys for each team? Now, if we're going to start, we'll start with the West. We'll start with the West right here. I'm going to go through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the standings, reshare the screen with you guys. We're going to go through each team's main keys right here. Now, heads up, the Western Conference one's going to be a little bit longer because, right, there's actually more. The Eastern Conference is a weaker conference. So let's talk about the West a little bit. So for the West, we got the Timberwolves right there. This year, obviously, they did a nice turnaround from last year. Rudy Gobert's click with that team. We know Anthony Edwards. He could be the potential next face of the league. And come playoff time, this could be his time to shine right here. The big thing for the Timberwolves is they got to keep that chemistry they built during the regular season going. Anthony Edwards needs to go out there, prove that he's clutch, prove that he's the man, do what Jokic did last year with the Nuggets to help lead that team. Also, another thing, you need Rudy Gobert. If he can still click with them, do what's helped them during the regular season, that'll be great right there. You got Karl Anthony Towns, if he's available for you, he's certainly a valuable piece. And Naz Reid, potential sixth man of the year, potential most improved player, he can become a valuable piece. If all these guys can continue that momentum from the regular season in the play, could be there. That's their big key. The Denver Nuggets, their big key. Obviously, Jokic has got to do what he did last time. Now, the big thing is they don't have Bruce Brown this time around because he was a key role player for that team last year. Now he's on the Pacers, and we've seen the Pacers take a big step up there. But for the Nuggets, obviously Michael Porter Jr.'s got to be on point too. Got to have him there as well. I mean, Caldwell Pope. I mean, these guys, most of the main guys that were there last year's run, they got to click. And I feel like for them, obviously, big keys. They got to beat the Timberwolves later this week. Try to get that home court advantage. Try to repeat what you did last year with it. And for the Thunder, their biggest keys right here is you need SGA and Chet Holmgren on their main game. That's the main keys right there. Those two guys got to step up and play as well as they did during the regular season, and they got a shot at making a run for it. For the Clippers, the biggest things is, one, you need Kawhi and Paul George healthy to have a shot. And your other guys there, like Harden, these guys, come playoff time, they got to step up and be clutch like they haven't done before. Now, Kawhi, we've seen him right there. We remember with the Raptors, he helped eliminate my Sixers in that Game 7 in 2019. Kawhi shown that he can step up in the playoffs, especially that run with the Raptors, and even somewhat with the Spurs in that 2014 run, but especially that 2019 run with the Raptors. But for biggest things is Paul George and James Harden. We know these guys are all-star players, and James Harden, despite how I feel about him personally, hey, he's a former regular season MVP. He's multi-time scoring champion, double-digit all-star. But come playoff time, we know James Harden has a tendency to vanish. Come playoff time, he has to step up. He has to step up and pull out that clutch playoff, James Harden, like he hasn't done before. And Paul George, he needs to take that next step, because with George throughout his career, he's been an all-star, but he's never really been that elite player. Like, these guys need to basically step up like they haven't before, because they're in the toughest conference right there. I mean, the number 4 seed against the Mavs, if that looks like that could be a tough matchup, especially with Luka, which I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, these guys, they really got to bring their A game for this run if they really want to win that championship while they still have the opportunity open. Now for the Mavs, their biggest key right there, I really feel, if Luka Doncic can go on a 2022 playoff-ish type run, that could be the key right there. You remember 2022, that second round against the Suns, they were supposed to easily get beaten. It was Luka and a bunch of role players. And then guess what happened? They beat him in 7. And he was balling out that run. They did meet the final boss in the conference finals and the Warriors. But what I'm saying, though, is this time around, he's got better talent around him this time around than he did last time. You got the help of Kyrie, who's clicked better with him this season. I mean, you have some decent pieces there. I mean, PJ Washington, if he does, I mean, he showed that he can be good. Maxi Kleber, if he comes in, I mean, it's a better roster than a few years ago. Obviously, those guys aren't the greatest players in the world. Obviously, it's run through Luca, and then Kyrie is the number 2 guy. But I still feel like the supporting cast as a whole on paper, with guys like PJ Washington, Derek Lively, he's out now, but I'm not sure if he's going to come back sorry about that, anytime soon. You got Josh Green, but you got Tim Hardaway Jr. That's a bit of a better supporting cast than the one in 2022. So if he goes on that run, this could, oh yeah, they could in fact do something big. They could actually go to the finals this time around. For the Suns, their biggest thing is all their top stars need to stay healthy, and Bradley Beal needs to step up too. We know throughout the season, Bradley Beal's been kind of hot and cold this year, but that makes sense because he's no longer the number 1 guy. He has to share the role with other players, but he's got to be on his game as well. He can help if he can step up and play good and consistently throughout the playoffs and stay healthy. He can help take some of that weight off KD, and they could make a run here. I mean, against the OKC Thunder, that you're looking at a possible matchup there. And really for the Suns, they're pretty much in playoff mode now because they got to make sure they keep winning games so they don't slip into that play-in. So I think as of right now, from my point of view, you're pretty much in playoff mode if you're the Suns starting now. Try to get that most favorable matchup you can. Hope the Mavs lose a few. Try to get that 5 seed, get a rematch with the Clippers from last year's opening round. But we'll have to see. And for the Pelicans, their biggest key is Zion. We've seen it before. Ever since 2019 draft, when healthy, the Pelicans are at least in the playoff mix when Zion's healthy. But when he's out, this team struggles. But honestly, I just think that's the best way they have even a chance of winning. I just don't see it come playoff time. And for the Kings, their keys, Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, got to be on to have a shot. Lakers, you need LeBron, AD healthy, doing the best they can. And for the Warriors, hey, you need Clay and Draymond to step up. Now, I don't know about those play-in teams. I just not sure there. Now, for the Eastern Conference, I'm going to breeze through this one a little bit quicker. It's for the Celtics, their main keys, Tatum and Brown. If they can play at their best and Porzingis can help them out, they can at least make a run to the finals. If they can go through the playoff brackets quickly so they don't come into the finals fatigued, that could benefit them because if, say, the Celtics go through everyone in the Eastern Conference, first round, second round conference finals, quick 4 or 5 game series, that could help them in the finals. They're going against a team that had a tougher road to the finals out west because the West is obviously the tougher conference. So it's a combination of their star players balling and a little bit of luck that could help them out. For Milwaukee, I'm going to sound like a smartass, but I'll say it. Doc Rivers needs to step up his coaching game. Yes, it's true. And also, to be fair, you do need Dame to step up too. And that defense, it's without Drew Holiday, that defense is not the same this year. They're not. And for the Magic, I feel like Jonathan Isaac is a big key. He could be an X factor for them with his defense because when he's on the court, he can make it tough for other teams. So I feel like he's got to be an X factor. Paolo Banchero got to have a shot. And also, maybe you need a little bit of luck right there. Maybe the Pacers, okay, if you get the Pacers, that could be an easier matchup. I think at this point, if you're the Magic, you want my team, the Sixers, to stay in the play-in. You don't want them to move up over the Pacers because if you're the Magic, you're going against a healthy Embiid, healthy Maxey, and Kelly Oubre. That's going to be a bad matchup for the Magic if that happens. So I think they're hoping that the Sixers stay in the play-in and that the Pacers win. That's one key they need to get past the opening round. And then from there, you're kind of hoping that maybe somebody upsets Milwaukee and you're hoping you get an easier path to the conference finals. But even then with the Magic, I think it's mainly Jonathan Isaac, Paolo Banchero, and some luck to have a shot. The Knicks, they're in a tough position because Jalen Brunson, they made it this far, but Jalen Brunson's, he's constantly playing. He's getting a lot of workload put on him. No Julius Randle, but you need Bogdanovich and not Alex Caruso. Who was it? Alex Burke. You need those two guys to step up and prove that they can deliver because we don't even know if Julius Randle's going to be active. And number two, we don't know, even if he is active, how good he's going to play. So really, if you're the Knicks, you need a big turnaround that you haven't seen yet. You need those guys, Burks and Bogdanovich, to step up and hope that Julius Randle can come back healthy and actually deliver come playoff time. But I just don't see that happening. The Cavs, if Donovan Mitchell can take that next step come playoff time, and if that next step can help propel Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, I feel that's their best way they have a shot at making a run. For the Pacers, you got Bruce Brown. He's knows how to role play in the playoffs. He did it last year. He played his role well for the Nuggets. And then you also got Tyrese Halliburton right there. You're going to need to win some games right there. Try to stay at that 6th seed. But then again, if you're the Pacers, maybe if you get slipped to the play-in, get the 7th seed. Yeah, but then you'll have to play Miami. I mean, Pacers, I think they need a little bit of luck too. I just don't think they're quite at championship form yet. I think they need a little bit of luck. And like I said, Halliburton to make a run. For the Sixers, my team, I'm going to get to that in a second because I'm going to analyze that more in depth. For the Heat, their main key, another Jimmy Butler playoff run. Another one of those playoff runs where Jimmy Butler leads the team. But then again, this year, it might be a little bit tougher for them to pull up the same feat because I think teams are taking the Miami Heat more seriously this time around because, wait, this team came as the 8th seed last year and made it to the finals. We got to take them more serious. And the Bulls, I'm sorry. I just don't see how the Bulls are going to get past the play-in with the Hawks. Their main players are who? Alex Caruso and Derek White. I'm sorry. I just don't. No offense to any Bulls fans if you're listening, but I just don't see your team doing it. I'm sorry. I don't. Not with this roster. And the Hawks, hope that you can win against the loser of 7 versus 8 just to make the playoffs. Honestly, that's the best I see happening. Because I feel as long as Trae Young plays, they should beat the Bulls. So that's that right there. Now, 1 second. As promised, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Sixers. I decided to save that for last since that's my team, where they stand. So over the past week, it started exactly 7 days ago. Exactly 7. Joel Embiid came back from injury against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Looked a little rusty in the first half, but he hasn't played since January, so it's expected. But then second half, he shook off the rust. He started to play better. He also got some help from Kelly Oubre Jr. And then, he made those 4 free throws to help at the end. And then we saw against the Spurs in that double overtime, Embiid and Maxey absolutely dominated that game. How many points did they combine for again? Hold on a second. Because they absolutely dominated that double overtime game against the Spurs. We got the win. Embiid and Maxey stepped up. Embiid had about that was crazy. Yeah, but what was his stat total? I know Maxey had 52. He scored that career high. And, this Sixers team has been really with Embiid. They've been winning these games. Let's take a look at their schedule real quickly. See, now tonight we got the Pistons at 7. Come on. We got Embiid and Maxey and Kelly Oubre playing. There's no way we should lose this game. If we lose this game, something went wrong. If that happens, there's no way the Sixers should lose tonight to the Pistons. Absolutely not. Should not happen at all. Now, this past week, we did beat the Thunder. We had a nice win there. Who else did we beat? We beat the Spurs. We had another win. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. But man, we were really. But yeah, all right. So let's go scrolling down right now through their schedule. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, we had the win against the Grizzlies on Saturday, and a win against the Heat. I mean, Embiid's been doing pretty solid since then. We had. So let's take a look. Versus the Heat, we had Maxey had 37 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. Good Oubre in that game had 18, and Embiid 29. So yeah, let's show you those three right there. It's going to mainly be run through Embiid, Maxey, and Oubre come playoff time. And in this past week, we've seen it. That's the game against the Heat. Now the game against the Grizzlies. We're going to take a look at that real quickly. Embiid, 30 points. Oubre had 17. And Maxey only had 7 in that game, but I'll let it slide. It's one bad game because he certainly made up for it in the Spurs game, dropping 52. So I'll let that slide. But you see, these 3 guys are the main guys with Embiid back. So now we have an idea of what this team's looking like. And we do feel, I mean, Nick Nurse, he is a better coach than Doc Rivers. I mean, I'm optimistic that we can at least make the second round. But then again, that's been our ceiling in recent years. So right now, if the Sixers can win out on these games, you got the Pistons tonight, you got the Nets to finish, and that's at least possible 2 wins right there. But and you got the Magic. That could be a playoff preview if we win all 3 and the Pacers lose a game. That could get us in the playoffs because really, with this point, what we need 3 wins. Well, actually, we need a couple Pacers losses, right? And we need the Pacers to lose out. So let's see, what's the Pacers schedule look like? Try to get an idea of where I think we're going to land. They got the Raptors tonight. That's probably a win. They got the Cavs. That could go either way. And the Hawks, that looks like a win on paper. And the Pacers only 1 game up ahead of us. So, well, I think we need the Pacers to lose multiple games. We need to win all 3 to get that 6th seed. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I think the Pacers have a bit of a favorable schedule. We'll ultimately see. I would like to have that matchup against the Magic, but then again, the Bucks could be a favorable first round matchup too, especially going against Doc Rivers, having Embiid back, having Maxey and Oubre to go off of. I'd rather that than us play the Celtics in the opening round. So I feel like regardless, if we do get the playing game against the Heat, we got to win that game. Let's get the 7th seed, go through the Bucks in the opening round. Then we'll be set in a more favorable position versus the 3 versus 6 winner. And that could be if it's the Magic versus the Pacers, hey, that could be a winnable second round matchup. As long as we get through the first round healthy, there's a possibility we could make it to the conference finals against Boston. But at the same time, all those cards got to play out right too. We still got to win that game. We got to win the opening round against the Bucks if we get that 7th seed. Then we'd have to go on and make sure we actually win in the second round in order to have a shot at the conference finals. So that's the thing right there, though. But then again, if we go to the 8th seed, we got to play Boston the opening round. I don't like that matchup because, sure, we're starting to get our chemistry back, but Boston, they've been rolling all season. We'd have to play a 7-game series against them in the opening round. I don't like the looks of that. But we'll have to ultimately see what happens. So tonight against the Pistons, the Wells Fargo Center, 7 o'clock. I feel like they just got to win out. Hope you get a little luck at the seeding. Try to seed, but pretty much win out till you forward's the key for the Sixers right here. You got Embiid back. He's rested. He's healthy. You hope he stays healthy through the playoffs this time around. You got Maxey there. You got Kelly Oubre. Hope these guys keep it going. You got Paul Reed's a decent backup center. You can use him in the playoffs. Nick Nurse is better at rotations than Doc Rivers. So ultimately, we'll have to see what happens. So I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Enjoy the rest of your day. And then we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Pick and Roll podcast on the Hardcore Sports Network with Mitch Kofsky, Next Shift Randy, Coach Ed Gladney, Rios. Until next time, signing off.